Hello, Dave and Joan Maroney here, and we are Mother of Mercy Messengers with the Marian Fathers at the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy, Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And we are home of Divine Mercy for America prayer campaign. You can find us at divinemercyforamerica.org. And today we are here with you to talk about what, Joni?
Fasting.
Fasting. And I always say, why do fast days go so slow?
Just feels that way, right?
Yes.
Well, the reason we're here to talk about fasting is because through the Divine Mercy for America campaign, what we work on is praying and sacrificing for our nation, especially the way the Lord told Saint Faustina, Our Lady told Saint Faustina, and the way Saint Faustina, the apostle of Divine Mercy, was instructed to do, and that she did. And fasting is a big part of it. So we have a group called Fast Friday. You can belong to our Fast Friday group. It's really a way to encourage and a network of all of us that are trying to fast in any way we can to help end evil and gain the salvation of souls. And we receive a lot of questions about how to fast, why to fast. I can't fast. And so we thought we'd put this short video together to let you guys know about our feelings about it, what we think about it, and how we, the Maroneys, fast ourselves.
And so, you know, there'll be a lot of people out there that have a more strict fast routine than we do, and there will be a lot that that don't have as strict a fast routine as we do. The point is just to start wherever you can, and maybe to kind of get a baseline here. Let me pull out the diary of Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska. This is passage number 530. To the glory of the Holy Trinity, she writes, I asked Mother Superior to permit me to make a 40-day fast, taking once a day a piece of bread and a glass of water. 40-day fast. Piece of bread, glass of water.
One piece of bread and one glass of water a whole day for 40 days.
Okay.
Well,
that's not how. And just so you'll know, she was not granted permission by Mother Superior to make that 40-day fast. She was granted permission to make a 7-day fast. And Mother Superior had to arrange it so that the other sisters didn't know that she was doing such a strict fast, so that they wouldn't be asking questions and things like that. So, and Jesus makes it clear throughout the diary that her obedience, you know, whenever she wanted to do something and she would ask permission from, you know, Mother Superior, or also oftentimes Blessed Father Michael Sapachko, her spiritual director. And if they would tell her no, she would gain a lot of grace from heaven by being obedient to their instructions. Even though she wanted to do more, you know, Jesus was very, very pleased that she would obey their instructions.
So let's talk about fasting. We know the scripture that tells us that there's only some spirits that can be removed. It requires more than prayer. It requires fasting also. And we've really gotten out of the practice of fasting in the church, and maybe that's one reason we do see so much evil. More and more of it's being exposed, and more of it's being expelled. And we really believe it has a lot to do with increased prayer and devotion, but also the people that are fasting. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, or the US CCB, says that what fasting means is, in the technical sense, that one small meal a day and accompanied by 2 smaller meals that do not add up to 1 full meal. So what would that technically mean? So maybe in the morning you have a piece of toast, maybe a little bowl of cereal, a fruit, a piece of fruit. In the afternoon, maybe a little sandwich, a bowl of soup, and some crackers, you know, and then again in the evening that you'd have another little snack, either some crackers or a piece of fruit or something small. Fasting does not mean starving yourself, okay? It doesn't mean that you do like with Saint Faustina. That's basically starving herself, you know. It would be if you had one glass of water and one piece of bread a day. We're not being called to do that. The call to fasting is really a call to self-denial. It's a call to discipline. It's a call to offering sacrifice. And when we limit our food intake and our drink intake, and we're thinking about these things, it's also us making us very present to the Lord and united with the Lord.
And it sends the devil, makes him crazy, because why would someone willingly put themselves into an uncomfortable situation? When you give up food, you're going to be hungry, and so why would somebody do that? So it just drives the demons crazy and drives them out.
Now, a lot of people will write and say, well, I thought a true fast is just bread and water. I believe a lot of that could be coming from what Our Lady in her apparitions in Medjugorje has asked to do, that people fast on Wednesdays and Fridays in particular. The best form of fasting, she did say, is on bread and water. Well, that's because it's taken us to our very basic sustenance, and so, yeah, we could strive for that. That's what Faustina was talking about, doing a cup of water and a piece of bread for 40 days, but, just keeping it very, very simple, and to do the bread and the water. And if you can't, again, it's not so much about what you do. It's mainly more about how you do it, what your disposition is. So some people will have a cup of coffee in the morning. Others say, I just do without my coffee, and I'll have a glass of juice or a glass of water. A big part of it too is if we are just going to do a bread and water fast, or basically a bread fast on Fridays, for sure, we really want to try it, because this is supposed to be our day of penance. It's always supposed to be.
Now, are you talking about
penance.
just during Lent?
Fridays, no,
during
every
Lent?
Friday is a day of penance. And so Fridays we're called to do that. But if you want to increase, that's the nice thing. Once you kind of get used to do that on Friday, guess what? Then you find that you can do it on Wednesdays. And then even some people say, well, I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Point is, we learn to do this self-discipline, this self-denial, and you do it then constantly, or almost constantly. Every day you can maybe say, I'm going to turn off the television, or I'm going to get off my Facebook, or I'm going to keep silence, or I'm not going to have that extra piece of candy or bread, or just little, like the children in Fatima said, little sacrifices that we do, and it helps you make those sacrifices. But going back to the bread and the water, we put out a couple of emails. One of the things in Medjugorje, for example, is when you are on something like that, that the bread that you're eating is a good bread, a wholesome bread, so that you're getting nourishment. We're not doing this to make ourselves sick. It's a way of self-denial, is the best way that I can put it, so have a good bread. I mean, in a certain sense, it really makes the day of fasting beautiful, like a nice little gift, because I don't normally eat bread. I try to watch my carbs, but on a fast day, it's almost like, well, it's very simple, because maybe I'd like to have a piece of cheese, or I'd like to, have a full sandwich or something like that. But instead, I'm going to have this croissant, or I'm going to have this cinnamon toast bread. Really, and some days I do and some days I don't, but it's almost like a little gift from the Lord. And it's a lot simpler than if I would have gone out for lunch or a happy hour on a Friday afternoon, and I stay home and eat a, cinnamon raisin bread toast, so that's that. Don't get so hung up. I think sometimes people get too hung up on them exactly what they should and shouldn't be doing, and lose the whole spirit of it.
And what we try to do is every Wednesday and Friday throughout the year is to fast, and it kind of we do that in different ways depending on on some days, if it's if Christmas falls on a Wednesday or something, then we're not going to fast on that day, but we try every Wednesday and Friday. And what I do is I skip breakfast completely, and I'll have my coffee, and but I'll watch the clock, and I promise Jesus I won't eat anything till noon, and so noon comes along, and then I'll go make a piece of toast, and I'll put butter on it, and that will be my lunch, you know. And I make sure that I drink water during this time when I'm fasting, and that will you know, that will be what I have till dinner that night. And we usually try to eat fish or, you know, seafood or something like that on Wednesdays and Fridays. And we'll have a regular sized meal in the evening. And let me just say, you know, at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm hungry. I can feel it, you know, and it's not painful, you know, but it's you know, you want to eat, you're hungry, and it's a, you know, it's a little bit of pain in there, not much, but so, but the fasting teaches you that it's, these things will pass, you know. I'll just hang with that little bit of hunger pain for that small amount of time. And then when I do get to a meal and eat, you know, you learn that you can get through those times that might be a little difficult, and you can make it to the goal. And so you have, you know, it's spiritual lessons, the fasting, you know. Growing up in the Protestant faith, Baptist, we didn't have fasting. And so I really see, you know, now that been fasting for years, really see the great benefit, how you can grow spiritually, and you give these your fast, you know, to Jesus, and he can do great things with what you give up.
Well, we hear a lot from people too that say, well, I have medical conditions, or I'm diabetic, and you know, and I can't fast. Well, Our Lady has said a lot about that. You know, we require, first of all, if we're offering something to God, and we're doing it in the right way, nothing bad is going to happen to you, you know, number one. Number two, again, we're not saying starve yourself. You know, if you have a medical condition and you have to eat every 3 hours, okay, well, maybe you choose differently. I mean, you really are prudent about what you're eating, or you eat a little bit less, or you don't put butter on the bread, you know, you just eat the bread. There's things that you can do even within these conditions, by the choice of food that you eat, and by the drink that you have, you know. So there's that. Then there's also other ways of fasting, that if you just simply cannot, or feel like you cannot and can't get to the point that on food and drink, is some people just say, I've tried it and I can't. Again, maybe you're just trying way too much. Start small, fast from soft drinks, fast from the coffee, you know, fast from, again, the type of food that, you know, don't eat any fried foods, don't have any dessert, you know, there are things like this that we can do. But then also there's, again, the other forms of fasting of, then don't watch television, you know, don't talk on the phone. You know, there's all
Give up your faith, you know. If you have the urge, you want to get on Facebook and see what's going on, you know, say, no, I'm going to take 5 minutes, you know, and pray instead.
Right. So again, it's the self-denial, it's the discipline. And then also, I would be remiss if I didn't say also that the church calls us on days of penance. They did some time ago say that it's no longer a sin to eat meat on Fridays.
Outside of Lent, you mean?
No, just regularly. You cannot eat meat on Fridays. That's still the same during Lent. Okay, abstinence is required.
Right.
Now, what they did came out with a document, I think it was in the late 60s, we wrote it, you could Google it or look back at some of our old emails. And they said that the reason they wanted extended is because for some people, it's not really a form of penance not eating meat. There are a lot of people that have switched their diets to where they're vegan, you know, they're vegetarians, or they eat very little meat. So big deal if you don't eat meat on Fridays, it's not really a sacrifice. You know, I eat tofu anyway. And so their point was, then if that's not a sacrifice for you and it's not a form of penance, then do something else. And it goes back to the works of mercy, you know, say extra prayers, spend an hour in adoration, go visit the sick, do works of mercy, good deeds of mercy, make some other acknowledge this day as a day of penance in some other way. And if by not eating meat, that's not a big deal for you, then you really need to find something else, because then otherwise you're not really making a sacrifice. But it did say in there that still the premier way, the best way to recognize Fridays as a day of penance was by abstaining from meat. You know, so we want to try to do that. Now, we've been in situations where we've been at homes of family and friends, and we're trying not to eat meat on Fridays. And guess what? They bring out
They get a barbecue going on.
Yeah, they've got a big barbecue and their steak. And so we're not going to be uncharitable and self-righteous and say, well, I'm not going to eat that meat because it's Friday. And no, we'll eat the meat, but then again, we'll make some other sacrifice.
Reminds me of the Bible verse, you know, do not put on a long face when you fast, because the you know, hypocrisy back in the day was they would look sour and dress so that people knew that they were fasting. So we're not, you know, we're not supposed to, you know, you don't want to go into a host's home and say, oh, I can't eat meat, I'm fasting, you know. So you just, you know, you adjust, you give something else up, and you enjoy the party if that's what's going on.
And or maybe you can get by with having a plate of all the sides and quietly say, you know, I prefer not to eat meat on Fridays, and not make a big deal about it, you know. But sometimes you can't, and sometimes you're just in that position. So you just got to kind of go with your heart. Again, it's what's in your heart and your soul, and know that you're offering it all to the Lord. And you tell the Lord, you know, Lord, I really prefer not to have this steak today, but they served it to me and I'm going to enjoy it, you know, and I'll make it up to you tomorrow. That's the other thing you can do, you know, do it on a day of a week that works for you. If Fridays isn't good for you, or Wednesdays isn't good for you because of your work schedule or whatever, then maybe Sundays, maybe Mondays. You know, the point is, do what you can, when you can, as you can, as much as you can, and encourage others to do the same by your example. We know a lot of people who we've said, well, we kind of try to fast on Fridays, and they go, oh, you know, I used to do that. I should do that more. And that's why we made the Fast Friday Club, so that other people would know and be reminded, you know, and held accountable to each other, and share examples with you of what people have done and how they're doing it. We would love to hear your comments. We love to hear your ideas to share with us. So you can write them in the comments below, forward this email on to others.
And let's explain how the Fast Friday works. It's an email group in our email or text systems. With Divine Mercy for America, you can receive either email messages, or we'll send the same content in a text message, or both. You know, you can get both of those if you want. And so with the Fast Friday group, typically every Friday there'll be a notice sent out, and it will have some little insight, perhaps from the diary or something, and a reminder. It's basically just a reminder. Today's Friday, you know, try to fast in some way on this day. But it also has some content, you know, from the diary and things like that, or something that's going on in our life, or whatever. So it's a good thing to get. You can go to divinemercyforamerica.org, click on the membership tab, and it will tell you there how to get signed up to receive either email messages or text messages, or both. And I'd like to read we're wrapping up. I'd like to read another little bit from the diary, real short. This is paragraph 904. During my meditation, I heard these words: my daughter, you give me most glory by patiently submitting to my will, and you win for yourself greater merit than that which any fast or mortification could ever gain for you. So fasting is don't get me wrong, fasting is very, very valuable. There are some demons that cannot be expelled except through some kind of fasting, thing like that. And as we, you know, come to be more aware of the darkness in the world today, that fasting, you know, really comes from the heart. But you always remember, that submitting to the will of God gives him greater glory. And so how do you know the will of God? Pray the rosary, pray the chaplet, open your heart, let the Holy Spirit live in your heart and speak to you.
We hope this video helps you. These ideas have helped you. And we just thank God for you and ask him to bless you and your family for every little prayer, every little sacrifice that you do. And we know that in the end, the Immaculate Heart will triumph. This is God's promise, and this is our hope. So God bless you, and God bless America
because of you.
Thank
Goodbye
you.
for now. So you eat a lot of tofu?